Kenny Golladay, who was a big free agent signing for them going into last year, wide receiver 84, 37 receptions, 76 targets, 521 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a 13.5% target share. Your thoughts on Kenny Golladay?
A lot of it was the connection piece with Daniel Jones, right? Like he wasn't his target percentage didn't drastically change from when he was with Matthew Stafford. His depth of target did change drastically, and he was dinged up in the middle of the season. So all that kind of added in. He didn't have any touchdowns, zero fat goose egg for touchdowns. That's never good for fantasy performances. But again, this Giants offense was pretty anemic. Like there wasn't a whole lot to get excited about. And this is kind of a prove it year, right? Because I think I'd have to look at the cap space, but I think Galladay could be a cap casualty next season. I think they owe him too much this year, but next season he could be a cap casualty. So I do expect his numbers to improve slightly with where he's going. I think I'd be interested to take a flyer on him at a wide receiver 3 type level. I think the talent is still there. I think the offensive philosophy is yet to be determined as they change coaches, and the chemistry with Daniel Jones has to improve. But if Daniel Jones has a short leash, which could be possible, and Tyrod comes in, I think Galladay is like a diamond in the rough with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. So that's something to keep an eye on also.
I think there were high expectations on Kenny Golladay. He comes in with, the big contract. He's the big free agent that they get. He's supposed to be the guy there, and then it just didn't really work out. And really, there were a lot of things that were wrong with this Giants offense last year. Saquon not being healthy, or back at full strength and full speed, and Daniel Jones sometimes remembering what team he plays for, and that throwing the football to those guys is okay. In fact, it's encouraged. So look, there's no way that he has another 0 touchdown season, right? Like that's just no possible way. And if there is, then there's huge problems. So obviously there's going to be an improvement. You'll get the touchdown bonus points that way. I think that Kenny Golladay, for everything that he, was, and especially given, some of the options that are around him, even with a shaky Daniel Jones or if Tyrod comes in, I still think that, he gets a couple touchdowns. He's back up in that low end, wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 range. And now I know that's not where, you would expect basically a wide receiver 1 in terms of depth chart to perform, but that's about the ceiling for this Giants team.
This is one of those that in order for him to have a lot of, good fantasy production, you really need to see him tick up there and get somewhere around about 115 to 125 targets when it's all said and done. That's going to be the big question mark is he going to get that type of target volume? Are the Giants going to throw those balls, for him to be able to do, because he's never been a possession guy, right? Like that hasn't been his calling card. That hasn't been his trademark. He's always been the big play down the field, big threat guy to a big body guy, a contested catch guy that can go up, high point the ball and just beat a defender there. If you can see him get that 115 to 125 targets, I think you'll see his receptions get up there around that 70 to 80 mark. Him probably get around 1,100 yards, and probably you'll see him 5-6 touchdowns on that one, which at that point moves him up the board there quite a bit. And I think this is a guy that he definitely has some value when it comes to fantasy drafts, because right now he's going in the double digit rounds, and a guy that's a double digit round that is a big play type of deal. I'll take a dart throw on and see what can happen there, and just see if I can find a little diamond in the rough, to use the same phrase Kevin was using there. So I like it, and from where his draft position is, I think that you'll be able to find some value on him.